Welcome! This stream is sponsored by Catnip. No, it's not. Welcome to this video. I don't do many videos on YouTube, and probably not this quality, but for this girl, and this girl, and this girl, it was time I do this. We are going to do abyss runs with exactly these three girls. I have 3 different runs prepared. I re-recorded them after I streamed, and I want to show you my thought process going into this and what I plan to do. So first of all, little disclaimer, Kitching is my favorite character and my main. Yoimiya is my second favorite character and my second main basically since forever. And now we have Kirara, which I just absolutely adore, and I don't really want to rank her higher or lower than Yoimiya or whatever. She is just great. So, what I'm going to do is show you my general process of how I went about this abyss. And then I show you some videos where I have my finished runs. These runs were done outside of my stream, where I had my first runs. So they are a bit better than my stream runs, but in general you will see what's happening. So first of all, my kitchen team beforehand was basically this. But now that we have Kirara, I wanted to switch over to this team. So that's where our start is coming from. Also, usually my Yoimiya team is with Yelan and either Zhongli, Yunjin, Bennett, something with this. So we went on this abyss, and the first thing we wanted to do was obviously just put in our kitchen team and then see where it goes. So, looking at our enemies, we saw a lot of enemies on the first half, and on the second half we had the Heralds. Both sides would be good with Dendro, so that didn't tell me much, but on the second half we could already see the Thunder Manifestation, and that's basically the go for Yoimiya. Thunder Manifestation is basically only good, it's only good for fighting. You only have a good way to fight her with ice bow characters, with fire characters. So basically Yoimiya Ganyu, and yeah, perfect for using Yoimiya. Chamber 3 we had the Baptist, which I didn't know at first which elements he had because I didn't check out videos beforehand much. I knew like a bit what happened, like with the Whopper Flowers, that there are many waves, but that's basically all. And we also have the Consecrated Beasts on the first half. So basically in the first half nothing my kitchen team couldn't handle, so the issue was the second half. We had the Abyss Herald with Frost, and we had the Hydro Heralds, as well as Cryo Abyss Mage and the Hydro Abyss Mage, basically 2 of them at first, and then 2 Frost Heralds and 1 Water Herald. Then the Thunder Manifestation was no issue, and as I said, the Baptist was not known yet, but in the end he had Hydro, Pyro, and Cryo. So basically it was beatable with my usual Yoimiya team. What, however, happened right away was I couldn't break the Hydro Shield and Cryo Shields fast enough with the typical Yoimiya team that I planned on going with, which was just Yoimiya, Yelan, Zhongli and Bennett. Basically a standard, really good, strong team. I could also swap out Bennett for Yunjin, but obviously with Cryo enemies it's a better choice to take Bennett in there. So, because that didn't work, I had to change my plan a bit. And what I came up with was pretty interesting and funny. I took out Yelan, and I took out Fischl, and I put in Fischl. And here I just put in my old Cookie, my good old Reliable. And here we go with the first chamber in our kitchen team. We got crit damage, so this should be pretty easy. We start with the 3 Whopper Flowers. Put them up with Kazuha, then use Kirara for her Dendro application, use the ult, and the first 3 are down. Same with the other 3, just put them up. We sadly get a Pyro Infusion, so that's not optimal, but it's fine. We just finish those up as well with quick hits, grouping them again. And now we get these 3 weird machine things. Just group them up, use Kirara after a bit. Ah no, yeah, use Kirara, just make him dead. And the same thing here. I thought our Fisher would get bullied, but that's for later in the video. So yeah, this worked pretty well here. We just group them all up together and make quick work of them. Really easy. On the other side we have our Yoimiya team, which will have to deal with... what was it again? Ah yeah, the cryo shield. Probably the hardest thing in this abyss, to be honest. We start off with just putting Zhongli's pillar in to buy some time. Then we use these two and start smacking. We kill the ice guy first because he's faster. And then we go for the hydro guy as well. Now we get the 3 heralds, which is quite an issue. Basically what we are trying to do is group them together, try to kill them as fast as we can with Yoimiya and Fisher in Bennett's ult. We have to be careful because we are in Bennett's ult, so we have pyro, so they vaporize us. Like we see now, Yoimiya took quite a bit of damage. But we can pin them down a bit with Zhongli, and then see to it that the last one also gets into his shield because the one guy is still not in. Now he is. We focus a bit on the hydro guy because the cryo guys usually are a bit faster. But we can see the hydro guy already has like half his shield, so we should be fine here. We have 40 seconds left. It gets a bit close at the end, but it's fine. Again, it's not optimal. Pretty cool when you have like Dendro and Pyro here, which is something we will hit later. But for here it worked. I also remembered that I can now use C6 Bennett. So I had some normal attacks of Bennett there. And now there's only the Hydro Shield left, and that's it. So on to the next chamber. We get normal attacks and charge attacks bonus. And fight the Terror Shroom. I have absolutely no fear of this guy. He will just take electro damage, get crazy. Sadly do this attack, which is the most annoying because he runs around a lot. And I failed to actually keep him on the wall there. So I wasted my cookie ult. And wasted a bit of time, but the time is no issue at all in this situation. We just smack him down. In this fight it would be way better to have Visual instead of Cookie to have even more single target damage. But we are still doing more than fine. We can collect Kirara's bombs here really well. You can see that. And we are using the bombs. He's running again. This time we got him on the wall though. He took a bit of punishment there though. And then we just finish him off. And go to the other side, where we are fighting the Thunder Manifestation. We don't have any ults there. Visual is pretty much useless. But yeah, we just use Bennett's ult and just smack with Yoimiya. And thanks to her C6, it's actually pretty good to have her as a solo DPS, you could say. Because she just shoots more fire arrows, so she deals quite a bit of damage against this guy. So he teleports around a bit, but yeah. This guy is absolutely no issue. We set this field in the middle again, because if he's teleporting there again. He does his cage attack though. You have to be a bit careful. It's really strong when you get overloaded as well, meanwhile. Instead I just went into the middle again, waited a bit for him, and then just finished him off. And we have more than a minute left, basically. I also accidentally left the abyss by just pressing circle all the time. Next floor, the 4 consecrated beasts. I was not sure how well this will work if we didn't have Cookie. We can see soon, I think, that when we use Kazuha he takes a lot of damage. Or maybe he already did. Might be that he already did. No, there was. He took a lot of damage there. But Cookie just heals him back up. And then we use Kirara. Bombs.
Nowhere to hide.
Extra damage and should get the bombs in there. Never mind, they are already dead. So we are just going to set up some heal. Wait till they are affected by Electro to swirl. Kirara for a bit of shield. We see the leaf there, but I was too lazy to run there and pick it up with pitching. Just went there and fine. But yeah, doesn't really matter that much. Swirling a bit again. And we can see we are losing a bit of time. We are almost at half. And they are still pretty okay alive. They will live a few more seconds at least. Ult. And there we go. Going to the other side with a bit less than half. But the Baptist is probably actually one of the easiest one here. So we just start up, get our fire and electro out, start smacking his shield down, which is already down, just deal a lot of damage here. Next is the Hydro Shield, which is not optimal with just Pyro and Electro, but it's fine as you can see. We use Shongi as well because he deals quite a good chunk.
Let's light it up, everybody.
And then we just do some more damage until he gets its fire up, and then we have to use Fischl, and we just normal attack with Fischl, so C6 also will pop more Electro. And then we set up for the kill, and shield's almost gone. Accidentally switched to Fischl there because my controller is not the greatest, and we have done it. All stars for this abyss with the Kitching and Yoimiya team. Alright, so time to check out our stats. This is my Kitching. She's my main character. She has really good stats, 75% flat, crit rate, 232 crit damage, a bit under 2000 attack, no energy recharge, and obviously some electro damage bonus from her Golbat. She's rocking the Mist-Splitter, which I have for a while now. It was my first 5-star weapon I got. And she's using the 4-piece Thundering Fury set. Her constellations is C5. Sadly, I didn't get a Kitching during my Yoimiya pulls. She could have been my first C6 character, but Yoimiya was like, hold my beer, hold my firework, I don't know. She's also, of course, talent level 10, 10, and 10. Then our Kazuha. He is a C1 Kazuha with 735 Elemental Mastery. He has not really the best crit rate. He has a lot of energy recharge. He's running the Sacrificial Sword R5 because I like to have him as a pseudo C1 Kazuha. And also he's running the 4-piece Viridescent Venera, obviously. Constellations, 0, that's why pseudo C1. And his talents are 8, 9, 9. Basically a pretty mediocre Kazuha, but he does his job well. Especially with the Sacrificial Blade. Then for Kirara, we have only 34,000 HP, which is a bit less. She also has a really bad crit rate and crit damage. Her support build needs a lot of improvement. I also didn't get my burst up as much as you can see in the video before. So yeah, there's definitely some more stuff I have to do with her. She's using the Sapwood Blade to get sometimes get the small leaf basically and get some extra elemental mastery for my Kitching. But usually you don't really pay too much attention to pick it up. For the artifact set, obviously she's using the Noblesse set. I just need to farm more so it's actually better. Her constellations are C6 because I went full on in for the constellations, had luck with the pull for the weapons before, and then I also had luck with this. Basically in 199 pulls I got all of her. Her talents are 9, 10, 10. Obviously I will crown this as well, even though if I'm not using it as much, but yeah, that's about it. So usually I would say Fischl, but we swapped around for Cookie, so we will look at her first for the first turn. Cookie Shinobu, almost 40,000 HP, has no crit rate, no crit damage. She has quite a lot elemental mastery because her healing scales of elemental mastery as well if she's under a certain threshold. I even gave her the Iron Sting because of that. And otherwise she's using the tenacity of the Millilith set to even buff my team a bit more. She's at Constellation 4, which means she does some more aggravate stuff, which is also great for elemental mastery. And her talents are fully crowned. And that is my kitchen team that I used for the first time. So for the second run, we went with the main girl Yoimiya, who is probably one of my best builds. She has 2000 attack, 124 elemental mastery, 84.5 crit rate, 221.1 crit damage, also a bit energy recharge, which is not that important, but it's nice to have. She is rocking the new Thundering Pulse that I gave her in this banner. Beforehand, she was running my Rust. She is using the Shiminawa Reminiscence set. My off-piece is actually a Gladiator Sands, while my Pyro Golbat also isn't the best. My Shiminawa Sands are just way worse, so it was better to use an off-piece Sands, which is pretty good. And yeah, use the rather mediocre Golbat because the Sands of this are just even worse. She is Constellation 6 of this banner. I had her at C2. I was joking about maybe I get her to C6 while I pull for Kirara. I had over 300 wishes saved up. Most of those wishes were planned for the Thundering Pulse because, yeah, like 200 wishes is when you can guarantee the weapon. But I got it at 69, and then I actually, yeah, in the 199 pulls I pulled for Kirara, I actually got 4 Yoimiyas. Crazy. Her talent levels are obviously crowned because she's my second favorite character after Kitching. So for her supports, I obviously used Fischl, which is also one of my best built characters. She has almost 2000 attack, almost 100 elemental mastery. She has 81.9 crit rate, 200% crit damage. She has a Skyward Harp, which was the last pull I got for my standard banner. And she's using the 4-piece Thunder Soother set, which was my Kitching set before. That is the reason why she is so strong, because that was my best Kitching set I had before Dendro. And Fischl just took it over, because usually the enemy are affected by Electro when I use her in a Kitching Kazuha team. Yeah, she just always hits Electro-affected enemies usually. She's also C6, and her talents are 6, 10, and 10. Or, because of constellations, obviously 3 higher. Then we used Zhongli. Zhongli is not that impressive actually. He's only at level 81, so I could make him stronger. He's using a Favonius Lance, which is also only at level 60. Because my other Favonius Lances are on Thoma and Yunjin. And I was too lazy to swap them around. He's also using the Tenacity of the Millilith set, and his stats are, yeah, not great. Also his talents are at 9 and 10. I don't know why I crowned his ult. I guess I thought it's funny. Yeah. Bennett, usually using the Seput Blade. I swapped him around with Kirara because Kirara deserved it. So I put him back on the Festering Desires, which was his weapon beforehand. His attributes are also pretty meh. 26% and 50% crit rate crit damage. He has only 32,000 HP, so even that is not great. And his energy recharge is really good. He's rocking also the Noblesse set. Probably a few of these pieces were swapped around with someone else, which is why he has so less HP. Maybe I should put an HP sand on him. I don't know. It worked out. He's Constellation 6 because I didn't care about Constellation 6. But I also forgot it in this video. Which is interesting, because with Constellation 6 you can actually beat the cryo shields of the Heralds pretty good. And I was just, yeah, let's switch back to Yoimiya and not attack with Xingqiu or with Bennett. Even though it would be pretty helpful, especially later. Alright, so now that we had this done, and we basically had our stuff, obviously I had to try out something different. And this would be
scenery
kind of
here
similar
is
to this. You can
wonderful.
see this is basically my Kirara
I've landed the
nuke team.
perfect job.
Basically, it's just using Kirara as a nuke DPS and make funny numbers. I changed it a bit though. Usually she had like 51 crit rate and like about 200 crit damage. I swapped it around a bit to be more consistent with it. But the issue is, as you can see, my energy recharge is not great. You will see it later on. I don't get my ult as often as I would like with this. So there's also some work I have to do here. But yeah, the team I went with, let me show you, is this one. Or are these. I went with, obviously, first we had to check out what we are going to do, but it was pretty easy. Second half, Thunder Manifestation, that's a no-go for a Kirara team. Usually, if you don't have any bow user, which means an ice bow user or a pyro user, like Yoimiya or Ganyu, you don't really do well against the Thunder Manifestation. So it was pretty easy to say, yeah, no, won't happen. My issue though was the Jade Plume might be a bit difficult, but I thought maybe it's okay. For the rest, it should be okay. The first half though, the first chamber is also an issue, because yeah, playing against so many enemies is not the strong suit of Kirara. Especially when your enemies are just spread out too much and your nuke only hits 1 or 2. So yeah, that was already my issue. And I thought, hey, why not just do a kitchen team basically, just with Kirara, and use Kazuha, Fischl, and Cookie. Because that way, I could actually just, yeah, use my electro stuff and then use Kirara for spread damage. For the second half, obviously I didn't have Fischl anymore, so I had to kinda try it out. And yeah, that was a big issue. Because I had to kill the hydro shields and the the hydro shields and the cryo shields. Usually with Yoimiya, that's not the biggest issue to kill cryo shields, but these enemies are annoying. So what I ended up with in the end was trying to go with actually this, using Nahida to make more blooms and actually passively kill the hydro shield as well, while you focus mainly on the hydro shields. Using Xingqiu just to have a character that can actually deal with the Baptist's fire shield, because I actually had a different approach first and wanted to go with a basically mono pyro team using Sucrose. Basically I tried to use this to basically have a burn team, but yeah, it didn't work against the Baptist because I had no chance to kill the pyro shield and he took way too long and I couldn't kill him. So instead I went with this. And yeah, that worked out in the end. It was very annoying. I needed several retries on the Heralds because I basically forgot to use Bennett. I have a C6 Bennett, as you saw, and I forgot I can just attack with him and Xingqiu while I have the C6 out. Yeah, that was dumb of me. But after a while I got the hang of it and we got these runs. So, we already know which cards we are going to get. Starting off with the first floor with the 12 enemies. Basically the same as with the kitchen team, because it's basically my kitchen team, just that there's Kirara as the main DPS. But we can already kinda like say, okay, this is kinda carried by Kazuha and the 2 Electros. You can see the first 3 flowers were actually faster than with the kitchen team, which is quite interesting. But the second wave also takes quite a bit. And now we set up some Electro, get these guys together. Now I wanted to use Fischl and now she gets bullied when I try to get us out. And then we just use Kirara, use ult, 73,000, which is nice. But obviously not as high as my nuke usually can go, but there's no Bennett buff, so it's fine. But you can also see, I get quite energy for my ult to use it often, but it's kinda iffy already. And this isn't getting better, because here we had some enemies.
Adventure time.
Later we don't have enemies that die. So, Here we are setting up with Nahida,
Witness the
just
power.
getting all that kind of stuff out so we can kill the Abyss Mage fast once the shield is gone. Same with the second one, and then we start firing at the first Herald already, as long as we can. Using our ult because we have a Thundering Pulse, and we don't really need the extra damage if we maybe not stop the Shiminava set. Our damage is more than enough.
Grim cutter.
And I think we had enough for the Shiminava here.
Didn't kill it.
Get smacked a bit and frozen. Don't quite get all our attack strength up because of it.
I'm going in.
Here we can see why Nahida is actually pretty nice here.
Let's light
You
it
can
up.
just hit them all together, and each time you have like a burning reaction or anything on the ice guys, the water guy also gets the Dendro attack, and the Dendro attack obviously takes quite a bit of damage from his shield,
Rain outlines your.
which is nice.
Yeah. Everybody.
Also, of course, I can utilize this C6 Venet again, so here I'm just attacking with Venet a bit. Before I switch to Yoimiya and start attacking with her. Because I think she has a bit of faster pyro application, also I don't have to stand in the midst of it. And we can already see the Hydro guy is just passively gone now. So now we can just go official, not official, Xiangling and Xingqiu and Bennett, wow. All the wrong names. And kill them off as well. Going up to the next chamber, we have the Jade Plume Terror Shroom. Again, I wasn't really scared of this, because this time we have Fisher, which is just an amazing damage deal against a single target. The issue is though, our Kirara won't deal as much damage. You can see 2400 per ult bombs, which is nothing, because this guy has like a huge Dendro resistance. So yeah. Sadly don't deal much Dendro damage here. And we have to mostly rely on Kazuha swirling and Fischl and just dealing Electro all the time.
Stand with me.
I'm trying to switch in Kirara as often as I can to use ults, but 18,000 is just not great. So yeah, sadly not the best enemy fighting Kirara here, main DPS. But we have the two Electro characters and Kazuha, which are just carrying us. And you can see we almost did it in 1 minute still. Which means for this team as well, we don't have Zhongli. So we have to be a bit more careful because we can dive very fast. We also didn't have any ults. I should have used Nahida first, but I kind of forgot, and now I'm running into this attack because I thought it's different. Now I use all my ults and my skills and start attacking this guy. Which also can smack us out of this ring. As said, Overload is kinda dangerous for yourself as well. Trying to get around, go to the middle, use Bennett's ult here. He teleports after me, and then we can just finish him off and still have over a minute left. So this second one was really fast. Also I go out again by accident. Going to the last one, we have the Consecrated Beasts. Now here I was a bit scared because catching team took quite a while, but also Kirara is a bit stronger here again. There was over 20,000 and all the small ones hit 11,000. So yeah, it's actually pretty good, but still Kazuha and Fischl do probably most of the job here. But it's still nice to see how it works. Just basically trying to swirl, AoE, keep them together, run after another. Also seeing this water thing. Trying to save some energy here. And now go there, try to get Electro on them together. swirl everything,
Adorn my night.
Queens
get
of
all the other
darkness.
stuff out, and then just fill up a bit of cookie and swirl as often as we can. Swapping just through our characters to see which skills are online, which not, because I would be a good player if I would remember any applications, but instead I'm just swapping and swapping and swapping and see what's happening. But yeah, we can see. I think this was even faster than with my kitchen team. So yeah, pretty good. And on the last side, or on the second side, last fight, we have the Baptist again.
Everybody
Obviously, his ice shield doesn't do anything. Now his water shield we just fire off because we still have our pyro arrows. Now we use Nahida to turn this off. And obviously for the pyro shield we just have the water sword, so we can just set up and kill him. And have over 50 seconds left. Alright, so time for the sets. I somewhat already showed Kirara. She's a main DPS here, 78.9% crit rate, 165 crit damage. Could be a bit better, especially the energy recharge. You saw it in the battle, I didn't really have my ult up as much. She's also running the Mist-Splitter here, which I took from my kitchen, 2 Noblesse, 2 Deepwood, and the rest we already saw. Kazuha is unchanged, Fischl we also already showed, as well as Kuki. For the Yoimiya team we do have Nahida new, who was actually running the Noblesse set in my first runs, which I didn't realize until later, because of the next type of team we are going to do, because we will use Nahida as well. But yeah, she is now on the Deepwood. Beforehand she was on the Noblesse set, also not great, and she's using the Sacrificial Fragments. Constellations, she is actually C2, which is important, somewhat, because burning and stuff like that is actually able to crit, which is nice. Otherwise she's at 1, 9 and 8. Other than that we had Bennett, which we already showed, and we had Xingqiu, which I basically took to have some more resistance against the enemies. Because I don't have a shielder, I thought like maybe Xingqiu is better than Yelan in this situation, just to have more shields. And basically you could use Bennett's C6, but as I said, I was dumb. But on this replay you will see it again. So otherwise he's using the emblem set, is at 65, 119, at 198 energy recharge, and constellation 6. His talents are at 3, 11, 13. Alright, so what comes next? Obviously this team was hard carried as you can see, by just Fischl, Kuki and Kazuha dealing so much electro damage and having enough energy or enough elemental mastery to just do the aggravate, and Kirara was just like some extra stuff. So the next thought was like, okay, what are we going to do next? How can we change it? Alright, let's take out the main damage dealer which we had, which was Fischl. We still needed Kazuha for just getting the enemies together. Could have used Sucrose, I guess, but Kazuha is just way more reliable. And for the spread, we went with Nahida instead, and we kept Kuki for survivability, basically. And we wanted to try this out, and this was basically also when I realized, oh, my Nahida doesn't have Deepwood on her, she has Noblesse. Yeah. So I obviously put Noblesse, Deepwood on her here, and went with this team. Which also meant we had Yoimiya and Fischl free again, which means we could just run the same team again, which we did before. So I won't show this team again, because it's basically the same. But yeah, you will see the Kirara runs at least. This time with spread, but again, it would have been a bit better if I had some more energy recharge. And maybe I need to farm some more artifacts for her. But yeah, here you go. So, the first chamber. Again, the flowers, we do the same as we did before.
Into the wind.
Swirl them together,
Fallen leaves. Adorn my night.
and now use Nahida and Kirara for nice 90,000 damage. One guy I didn't hit, or I didn't crit, one of these.
One with nature.
And then we do the same with the other side as well. Let's put them all together.
Wind strider. Clouds high. The
Thanks
birds
to
call.
having Nahida here and having many enemies, we can also get Kirara's ult pretty fast.
The wind knows me.
But also I messed a bit up by using Kazuha's ult on the last flowers before they died. So I couldn't group them together right away.
One with nature.
On the second wave it works really well.
Adorn my night.
Just do this typical stuff. And just smack our ult in there again. One guy wasn't critted, so he only took 30,000, survived, but it's easy. So we are cutting out the other side with Yoimiya, because we saw the team already, and it works. So this fight is the worst one for this team, because I'm mostly Dendro damage, and Nahida and Kazuha have a really bad interaction. Nahida eats up all the electro, basically. I'm trying to get him into the electro swirl, basically, but it's gone already. But now you can see I can hardly swirl my Kazuha attacks. So I was trying out not using Nahida's E, but somehow not using her E is still quite a lot of damage loss, so it's just not optimal. But here we saw 50,000 at least, even though he has a lot of Dendro resistance, because we have the debut set on Nahida now. And yeah, we are fighting, but we can see we took almost a minute now, and we are just under half. Also, Cookie almost died here,
Our bond is strong.
because he smacked me into the wall.
Sharing my knowledge.
I'm not sure if using her ult there is really helpful, but I mean, better than nothing, I suppose. Also interesting that the bombs are literally on the enemy, but they don't explode sometimes.
Wind strider.
The hitbox is kind of weird.
Out of my way.
So yeah, we are at halftime.
As one with wind and cloud.
Definitely not doing it. But again, next side is just a thunder manifestation, and we have seen how fast Yoimiya can kill it. So we are going to the third chamber and just check this out. And again, I was a bit worried because we don't have Fischl for that big damage. But the Jade Bloom was, in my opinion, the hardest one, because it has just such a high resistance. Here we can now go ham with actually spread damage. Again, the issue is swirling with these characters is not the easiest thing. But actually, it's not that important. Usually, when I use when I would use a spread team, I wouldn't use an animal character at all. I would rather use like either Yao Yao Fischl instead of Cookie and Kazuha, or just use Fischl instead of Kazuha in this team in general, because you don't really need to swirl. Kazuha is only there to really enable the team in the first half, because if I don't use it, if I don't use Kazuha in the first chamber, it's just hell. I tried it out with just Nahida, Cookie, Fischl and Kirara, but it didn't work out. They were too spread out, and I couldn't use Kirara's ult at all. They had more than one. It was just not possible to beat it in the time. Like even the one side was really hard to beat in time. Not even talking about the heralds afterwards. So yeah, but we can see this team here works pretty fine. It's taking a bit more than half the time, but there we see 29k just with our E, which is nice. And obviously we swirl this thing and it's done so. Alright, there you have it. My Abyss run for these 2 weeks. I really liked this Abyss. It had some challenging stuff, especially the heralds. You had to find out how you fight, and again you more had to like see where your elements go and how you utilize them, so you could actually use them well. Like, I couldn't go with my usual Yoimiya Vaporize stuff. I instead had to go with Overload mostly, which was really fun to do. And then we also got to play out around a bit with Kirara, which was really doing well in the kitchen team with her shield, though she was supported by a healer, so maybe without a healer she might have had some more issues because her shield power wasn't as strong. But in the end it worked out, and as the main DPS she also worked, though we have to agree that she was pretty much carried by, yeah, Fisher, Kazuha. But in the second phase it wasn't that bad, the only issue is her bad energy recharge, which made her not attack as much and not ult as much. So there's a bit of work I have to do to make her even better,
Let me see.
but that's nice. Also Yoimiya gaining her C6, making her even more usable in stuff like Overvape and not exactly Overvape, Overload I mean, and breaking the shields because she just has more fire arrows, which is really, really nice. So yeah, that was really nice. I'm happy I could use her this well. I hope you also had a lot of fun with this video. Maybe you had some more ideas about Kirara and how to use her. Maybe you didn't acknowledge catching yet, but she is a great character still, especially for AoE stuff. And yeah, maybe I'll do another video next Abyss, I don't know. It depends how well this video does and also how much time and effort I can put into it. Because I don't like doing bad stuff in general. I mean, the quality is probably not the best, and maybe YouTubers have a better video quality and have everything more structured and well laid out. But I mean, you know, you need the time and effort to do so. And I'm not sure how much I will be doing in that direction coming forth. Anyway, I still hope you had fun watching this, and we'll see each other next time, or in a Discord channel like Kirara mains, or Yoimiya mains, or Kitchen mains, whatever. Bye bye!